show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay, maybe everyone can just.
Yo, what's going on, gentlemen? Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening.
Welcome back to Views from the East. It's your boy Prade No Ahada. You know, I'm with the Kings in the building. I got King Qbert in here. I got B Money in here. I got King Dice. Well, King Dice will be with us shortly. My apologies, gentlemen. I'm just adding one more thing for the show. But before we even start the show, man, we just want to take a moment of silence. Obviously, you guys see why we're here tonight. Unfortunately, another mass shooting. So I think it's only right that we start the show, you know, with a moment of silence. I'm just gonna mute everyone's mic. All right. My apologies, gentlemen. Let me unmute everybody now. So yeah, fellas, man, it's a sad day, man. At work, you know, doing normal things that we do when we working. We just working. And I get a text from my wife. Just was like, yo, you know, there's another mass shooting. And it's even worse this time. And I'm like, what do you mean it's like even worse? Like, I don't understand. Like, what's worse than a mass shooting? And she goes, you know, a lot of kids were involved in that, and you know, a lot of kids died. And I was just like, yo, that's fucked up, man. And you know, part of my language, but like we talking about elementary kids. Like, it doesn't matter what the age of the kid is, but we're talking about an elementary school here. So what I was actually trying to do is to get the names of the victims and, you know, to give a proper but to me, bro, that's crazy.
They're not giving out the name. They underage. There's no.
They shouldn't. It shouldn't even matter.
They only give the name of the shooter. They didn't give ages, nothing. They're not. That shit's fucking disheartening, bro. Think about you send your kids to school, learn, and then some random psycho decides, you know what, let me run up in this school. First, I don't even want to think about it. You just walk into school and start shooting kids, bro. Kids, innocence, bro. The kids are innocent. Kids aren't nothing doing nothing, bro. They ain't do nothing. They ain't say nothing. Like, really? What makes you think that's the logical way to deal with your issues, bro? You kill kids. Bro, everyone here got kids, bro. I got nieces and nephews, bro. I can't fathom them. Think about that shit, bro. Shit brings tears in my eyes. Think about it, bro. Just walking to school, if you undetected and just shoot up kids, bro. Just kill little kids. Mind you, bro, it's not junior high, it's not a high school, it's not a college, bro. It's an elementary school, bro. Kids. And these kids are under the age of 13, bro. They probably like 10, 11, 12, bro.
We talking about elementary school, bro. Elementary is from kindergarten, even pre-K in some cases.
Yeah.
So all the way from the beginning, bro. We talking about kids. Like,
you walk in a school, bro. You think, let me kill these kids. What did they do to you, bro? I don't care what you're going through. I don't care what justification, what you're dealing with, but that's not right, bro. You don't just walk into school and just kill some kids, bro.
He also killed a few. The number. Well, here's the crazy thing, right? The number got updated, which is terrible, bro. Like, when my wife called me, she was like, you know, she sent me the link or something like that to the story, and I see like it was like, I believe 15 or something like that.
Where we at actively right now is
18 children, 3 adults.
Crazy how the number increases. One is too much to add. We talking about 3 more kids. And listen, man. What, where were you guys when you heard this news? Like,
I was on my way to work, bro. I'm getting off the train, and just to hear that just made me cry, bro. I'm on my way to work. I'm in an Uber. I'm on my way to work, bro. A few stops away from work, bro, and my phone just started buzzing. Like, what the fuck? My phone buzzing like that for? What's breaking news, bro? I check my NBC app and I see mass shooting in Texas in Uber, Texas.
crazy. Q Dice.
Me, I was at work. Really, y'all informed me of the situation. That group text, and I'm like, wait, what? And then I went on Facebook. It's like literally like it's kind of like I don't know why Facebook is like that, but after you hear some news and then you go on Facebook, it's like, wow, 2 or 3 people shared it, different links and different shit. I'm like, this is wild, bro. And then, but the numbers were a lot lower when I seen it. They were beneath 10, and I was like, this is messed up. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully, this doesn't end up being, you know what I mean, worse numbers. And that number just started changing by the hour, boy. I'm like, damn, bro, that's crazy, man. That's cold. And they said he just ran up in there, like, but then, like, why is it okay for kids to be They should be the most protected. That's the future. That just doesn't seem. It just doesn't seem logical, like the way that we think about a lot of this stuff. Why is it that kids are in? I don't know, bro. I don't know, man. It just seems weird. Why are they not? Why are children not the top priority? And what I'm saying is this: people say it, but when you go to a museum, do you see security that's big or a lot of security? No. When I go to playgrounds, I don't fucking see security anywhere. I don't see any form of, hey, you know what? We're protected. Everyone's all right. Only time I see something even remotely like that, as if you go to one of those the things that they bring from town to town, like a little carnival thingamajiggies that they do. Sometimes they have a little small security, whatever. But compared to the amount of numbers of people that's there, no. Like think about what I'm saying. Have you been somewhere with a kid and you looked around and was like, damn, you know, this is protected. Ain't nothing finna happen to us or the kids in here.
No.
Right? And that's the thing that is blowing my mind.
And
how come no one thinks let's protect the kids? No, at all costs. Because if we go, okay, cool, we got some information laid behind, profiles, etc. You know what I'm saying? That social media makes it to the point that people want to indulge with putting all type of information every fucking where. So if you have a certain amount, if you have a certain age, some information something that you have dealt with, you've dropped off your social media. So some way somebody can kind of get that. But a kid, this is fresh. A child, this is fresh. This is we're trying to get them to understand how the world works, so these brains could be molded to take over the world, take it to the next level. Why the fuck are they not at the most highest of protection than anybody else? Seriously, even with respect to elderly, but they should be protected even more than the elderly. They should be priority because that is the future minds. If something was to happen bad, it seems to like it'll affect the older people because the young ones have different immunity. It just seems to be a bit different. I'm talking about just from as long as I've been living on this planet. It seems like everybody falls to natural causes a bit faster than kids, even numbers wise. So if all of this shit is showing us this, why do we not protect children at the highest rate? That shit's weird to me, man.
Honestly, I think the reason is people think back in their minds the kids are innocent. After Sandy Hook, I would think they would actually try to protect the kids.
I got something for that. If we dig in history, everybody who was crazy attacked kids. All the sick shit happened. They attacked kids or the youth. It seems like this evil that's going around attacks innocence. Mm-hmm. We see it in movies, we see it in TV shows, we see it in cartoons, we see it in animations. they're like throwing it in our face our entire lives without any form of protection towards that. That just seems weird to me. It could just be me. That seems weird to me. I don't know.
Well,
So-
I was at work. That's why I sent it to the group chat when I found out about it. I'm like, I think we need to talk about it. And I know we've been trying to like open up the schedule for how, when we come on here. And that's why I sent it. I thought it was most prevalent for us to talk about it because, don't get me wrong, like, we're on the heels of the Buffalo shooting, shout out, and prayers and thoughts to all the Black matriarchs and patriarchs that we lost. And we covered this last time. And I share your same sentiment with all you gentlemen, Prada, B, and Dice. Absolutely heartbreaking. Absolutely devastating. I can only imagine what parents and family members are going through. But there is a trend here. And again, we have another 18-year-old person. This time, this kid, Salvador Ramos, is of Latin descent or Latino descent. I believe he's Mexican. I'm not sure. The only information we have is of certain things about his social media. He has guns posted and whatnot. I guess we'll find out more as the story develops. But yeah, here we are. Like, we have yet another monster killing not Black people now, but brown innocent kids. I'm trying not to be like emotional, but to think if it was like, like sending my kids out to school and then having them never to come back. It's crazy, dude. And first thing you have to ask is, how do we stop this? How do we do this? How? Why? Unfortunately, it's already done. The deed is done. And this young man doesn't get to see his day in court because the cops took care of it, or he's done. He's gone. He's passed on. I always think of how do we stop it and how do we, like, what would happen, blah, blah, blah. If I were a betting man, I would think the only way to stop it is if this happened in a predominantly white affluent place, city or town. Not that I'm saying I would want that to happen. God forbid, no. But I think I said this to my friend. People have more smoke for goofy ass people who are affluent or maybe I think like I want to say like who was it that people were just roasting last week after he died? Kevin Samuels. People had more smoke for Kevin Samuels than they did with the Buffalo shooting. I heard more about this guy and people after he died than the victims of the what do you call it, of Tops supermarket. Now we have children. When do we stop? How do we stop it? Right? I would think that it would have to happen on a larger scale, and it'd be racially motivated, right? Because I'm pretty sure if a black person or a person of color came into a very a higher end residence and did that in what do you call it, in a Whole Foods somewhere in the upper east or west side, there'd be a lot more. Not saying that I want it, but I would think that there'd be more boots on the ground to stop something like this from ever happening again. Now, you can say Sandy Hook, and nobody did anything there, did anything about that, but that was then. This is now. There are mass shootings happening all over Milwaukee. People getting killed. What do you call it? On the trains. On the what do you call it? They just caught the Q train killer.
Subway shooter.
The subway shooter. Thank you, Dice, for sending that. We're all part of a group chat for everybody that doesn't know. And I gotta think. People are politicizing this already and saying that it's all about the guns, but it's been documented that when guns are taken away, knife, what do you call it? Knife crimes go up, knife stabbings go up. It's not about the weapon; it's about the person, you know. And as being a person who's staunchly against guns all of my life, I going to the range and learning that stuff. I think that, and I hate to say this, there is something to being what do you call it? Being trained on firearms, being trained to protect yourself, and realizing. See, sorry guys, that's me. What do you call it? The fire department is right down the block from my house, so they always come through here. I apologize for the background noise. My greater point is,
It's crazy.
oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
What was it? What did I say last? Before
You apologize for the fire department that's one block away from you.
Right. So yeah, they come down here all the time. I'm on the main strip. But anyway,
age of the embryo, and
we have to figure out a way to protect ourselves, protect our kids,
April's choice.
and to get trained on these types of things. I don't want to see any more mass shootings, but I'd be naive to think that this is the end of it. And since we're on a trend, this is a trend now. It's 100% a trend. Violent crime is up all over the place, all over the country. How do you do to protect yourself from that?
Yeah, man.
You get trained. I think you gotta take measures to protect your kids. Me and Prada were talking about homeschooling and whatnot.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's so crazy that because I was saying homeschooling because it's crazy, and I love this, but at the same time it still sucks. Like even I just received a letter from her school, like via email, this big letter, just like something all the way in Texas immediately has effect everywhere. All schools are on alert. They sending game plans, what they can do to prevent things from happening here. That already just to see them kind of unified like that, because it shows communication, I guess, across the board. But again, man, it's a terrible situation. But let me actually share the story, updated story at least, for where officer was updating us with the latest details, and that's how I found out like the count got higher and all that crazy stuff. But let's just get into that real quick, and then we could resume the conversation.
An update for us in Uvalde from DPS. Vanessa?
Deborah, we're here with Lieutenant Chris Olivares with DPS. He's going to tell us a little bit more about what he's learned that happened out here at Robb Elementary today. And Lieutenant Olivares, we've just learned that 18 students have been killed.
Right, Vanessa. So first I want to acknowledge the brave men and women of law enforcement that showed up to the scene, that actually were involved in the scene, that actually made entry into this school and saved more lives. That, of course, we lost 18, but I want to praise those brave men and women of law enforcement. Also, offer our condolences on behalf of Texas Department of Public Safety to the families, to the victims, and the entire Uvalde community. So what we do know right now that the suspect was involved in a family disturbance earlier on the day with his grandmother, in which he shot his grandmother. From that point on, what we do know is that local law enforcement received a call of a crash and a man with a gun nearby where the school's at. At that point, local law enforcement responded to the school. The suspect made entry into the school, and as soon as he made entry into the school, he started shooting children, teachers, whoever was in his way. He was shooting everybody. We had, of course, as I mentioned, brave law enforcement made entry into that school, exchanged gunfire with a suspect who was wearing body armor. Several police officers were shot. At that point, we did have a tactical law enforcement team arrive on scene. They made entry. They were also met with gunfire by the suspect, but they were actually able to shoot the suspect, and now the suspect is deceased. As of right now, we do have 18 children confirmed that are deceased, as well as 2 adults, one of those being a teacher from the school.
And we've also heard word that Border Patrol agent was struck with gunfire, a few officers shot. We've heard that some law enforcement officers actually went into school to get their kids out. Can you talk about that?
Right, so we do know, Vanessa, right now that there was some police officers, families trying to get their children out of the school because it was an active shooter situation right now. It's a terrible situation right now. And of course, just as we mentioned, the loss of life, it's just terrible. It's a terrible tragedy when that took place. But again, we got to keep acknowledging those brave men and women that actually were there on scene that met this suspect. And of course, we know that they were met with gunfire. Some of them were shot. But at the end of this, the suspect was shot and is now deceased. The threat is now neutralized.
And we're hearing his home was less than a mile away from here. Did you find any other guns, any other ammunition? We've heard maybe a backpack in the school or at his home.
So what we do know right now, Vanessa, is that the suspect was armed with a long rifle. We are working with ATF, FBI, multiple law enforcement agencies here on scene, trying to determine what kind of weapon this individual had, how he obtained it, and also what the motives were, if any, behind this mass shooting.
And we've seen parents out here the last few hours wondering where their children are. Have you been able to notify all the parents?
We have local law enforcement out working with the families, contacting the families as well. Also those that have lost children. We do have some type of victim services involved as well to try to meet with these families and comfort them in this time of need right now. So I think we're now as a community that we need to acknowledge this and have prayers for these families, these victims that are lost right now.
Where does the investigation go now?
So it's still an active investigation. We have multiple agencies. Texas Rangers right now are the lead investigators for this shooting, as well as working with FBI, ATF as well. So it's a multiple agency investigation right now. And we will provide updates as we receive them.
All right. Thank you, Lieutenant. We appreciate your time today. And there you have update. 18 children died in the shooting today, including one teacher out here at Robb Elementary. We'll have more updates later on in the show. Deborah, back to you.
Okay, thank you, Vanessa. And then we know of the teacher and 2 other adults who were killed in addition to the 18 children. And we just heard there from the DPS officer about how they approached the gunman with a tactical squad. And of course, we already heard that the Border Patrol agent who rushed in without backup and was shot in the leg, and he also opened fire on the gunman, who was armed, we've just learned, with a long rifle.
Yes, and that suspect, Salvador Ramos, 18-year-old, said to be a local there in Uvalde, of course, again, killed by that DPS Border Patrol agent who showed up there on the scene when he heard what was going on. He quickly just went and, did what they're trained for, to try and help save lives, and he did. He took that shooter down.
Well, as you said, a true hero.
Yes.
A true hero.
Well, shout out to the agents and all the law enforcement that neutralized the assailant. No Burger King for him. So that's good.
There's 2 things that stood out immediately to me. 1, body armor.
There you go. I wanted someone to catch that.
Bro, what? That
Yeah.
changes the whole spectrum of everything we're talking about. My man went into a elementary school body armor. Second thing. Bro, this is the most hurtful part out of it all. The people don't even know if their children is alive or not. They haven't even notified on what kid's alive or what kid isn't. Bro, that is ridiculous. Could you imagine bro? Wow, bro.
It's sad, man. It's terrible.
Wow.
It makes me sick. It makes me sick to think, what else was he planning if he went to elementary school with body armor? You went to elementary school with body armor and a long rifle. What else? What else were you? What? How much more students was gonna feel the wrath of whatever you were going through? What's we gonna do to these kids, bro? Like, really? Like, how can you? How can you bring yourself up, wake up in the morning and think this is what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna walk into elementary school and just shoot at.
Well, one thing for sure is this ain't the end because we're only in what, May, and we haven't even gone through. We haven't even reached the halfway mark of the year. This is what's happened. So, unfortunately, the part of my brain that's fight or flight is like, well, this ain't it. This isn't over. There's plenty left of the year, plenty left in this 2022 to go, and this is what we are.
This is just we just in the mid, like in the end of May, bro. What else, bro? What else are we gonna? What else are we? I don't want to see no more, bro. I want some more of this shit, bro.
Again, you gotta learn to. You have to have another set of eyes on the back of your head, and everybody is here from the hood, so we already know. Like, you always have to keep your head on the swivel.
Bro, I grew up in the hood. I grew up at, bro. We know kids and mothers and wives are off limits. Those were the rules when I was growing up. Mothers and kids and grandmas are off limits. We don't have kids, bro.
But this is different. This is different. This is not like street gangs doing doing dumb stuff for drugs or for credit or for whatnot or for
it's not about it's not
to protect their corner or whatever. These are agents of chaos out here just trying to scare and wreak as much havoc as they can. It's absolutely terrifying.
But that's not where you chaos at.
Say again?
No one should actually find joy and happiness in creating chaos in people's lives.
Well, I don't listen. The thing is, when you deal with individuals that don't care about the future, and they don't have much of a soul, this is what you get. This is what you get.
I'm glad you said that, because what people have done, you cannot look at this. I'm sorry, but you cannot look at anyone who does anything like this as a human. To do that, no, that is not a human. That the brain, the mind, the soul, that I don't know, that shit is just something else, man. That's ridiculous, man.
So what do you gentlemen think?
Family, man. Prayers to the family.
But I gotta ask this question to the panel, to the gents on the panel. Where do we go from here? Huh? How do we protect against ourselves and our families against these types of heinous acts?
We need to reinforce. It need to be some type of reinforced policy into even entrance inside of a school, any school, point blank period, not just elementaries, junior high schools, colleges, across the board. It needs to be not just an ID. Yo, if they got to put turnstiles there, you understand what I'm trying to say? Just for you to swipe or put whatever it is that you got to put, whatever information it needs to be for you to even remotely go in before, you know what I mean? Sightings of some form of security. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it needs to be a bit different. What's going to have to happen is the country itself is going to have to create a bill, come up with a plan to get some the same way how you sat there and you gave Ukraine however much trillion. We need to dump some of that money right into our own systems. Make sure that the kids are safe by all means necessary, man. Like there is no discussion about it. It shouldn't be a vote. It shouldn't be any form of discussion at all. It should just happen.
I understand that, but Dice. But I gotta push. But the reason why I asked is like, you can't wait for the government. You can't wait for somebody to save you. Everybody knows, like, you can't. Like, that's why I asked. I'm like, how do you protect yours or your nieces, your B said nieces and nephews? How do you do that? Because you can say, oh, well, there needs to be a bill. Okay, that bill might not ever come, if ever. I'm saying it should. I'm not saying it shouldn't. But how do you, as a father, uncle, brother, niece, cousin, or even if you just have kids that you mentor, like how do you tell you and yours to protect yourself? Like, and I think that should be the main thing.
I mean, my apologies, Dice. Go ahead.
No. Go.
How I'm looking at it is the first thing is just now doing reconnaissance work on the school you send your kids to. You know, when they used to have like reviews of the schools and like people really ignore them, like it is what it is, you know, say it's grade 2, I mean like a 2 or a 3, and it didn't really matter.
Okay.
I can assure you now, that's like one of the first things. People are going to be like, where's my kid going to school? Is it safe? What type of neighborhood is that? What access points, you know, is there easy access to get inside of the school? Because we're talking about someone that was able to walk into an elementary school wearing body armor with a long rifle, right? Like, obviously there needs to be a better camera system around all schools now with someone actually watching those cameras, because someone would have been able to see him coming. Body armor and a long rifle, that's not something you can hide away. The next step I would say for me is like homeschooling. When I said that earlier, I was just like, yo, like safest place, if she's, you know, if my kids are home being taught at home, then, you know, I don't have to worry about, like Dice said earlier, like imagine being a parent, you hear 15 kids are gone, but like no one knows which kids yet. Like you have to wait and anticipate. And I think they do know, because I think he mentioned like, you know, to help the victim. So some of the parents, you know, obviously the parents do know, but that's crazy having to wait for that news. And then on top of that, you couldn't even pick up your kids. They didn't allow you to come to the school. They was like, you know, we'll bring the kids to you guys. That's crazy. Like you hear there's a shooting, you can't even like your number one instinct is to get to that school quick, find your child. You get what I'm saying? And they weren't even able to do that. So imagine feeling helpless like that. But me personally, like I said, man, it's all about educating our kids. My daughter knows all about stranger danger. She knows I've walked her through a ton of scenarios. Some people like to say, hey, that might be a little bit too much, but I'm like, no, because these kids need to be educated. Just getting far more and more dangerous. Like, you know, so just really educating your kids. Homeschool, I know it's not a possible thing all the time, but it definitely felt like that today. Like, hey, like maybe it's best if she's home. You know?
And you'd be right, because like with even all the things that you can teach your kids, right? 100%. Teach your kids about stranger danger. Treat your kids like if something happens, you know who to call. Go to a another adult, a teacher. But is that gonna protect against somebody just walking in with body armor, shooting their way in? I don't know how it went down, but
well, see, this is why I said what I said. It wasn't because of I mentioned bills being passed because it needs to be something more than just what parents could do. Because hey, listen, I can say, hey, listen, I don't want to go to work, and I'm gonna just sit here and watch my kids' school with a shotgun, making sure everything is good. And me and the rest of the fathers, we can all band together to protect the kids. But like, well, how do we get money? How does the job? How does the life progress? It's not just a one-sided thing. It's not. I wasn't thinking of in the moment. I'm thinking of this is how it has to be in order for life to even progress for everyone, to even remotely feel safe. There has to be a bill. There has to be security added to it. There has to be more jobs put out for this type of situation. There needs to be training for the kids, teachers, and the security. It needs to be protocol within the school at which is a form of lockdown to secure the kids away from, even if there is some type of form of shooting or bullets that's coming in, glass, some form of I don't know, metal that can come down, that can, you know what I'm saying? Some form of protection that can, you know, seal them off from, even if that does happen, a danger like that. We got to think a little bit more than just within the parameters of personal, you know what I'm saying? Because this is attacking kids on a scale of just me, you, few people. This is a couple people that's affecting all at once. And we might not all think the same. Some people might say homeschooling, that might work, but then you got to think about it in the long run. Like, how is your kid going to register to go inside of or to get certain things within the system? The system only recognizes what the system shows, which is schooling, which is some type of high school or whatever diplomas that's taken. Now, certain things like GD is there, but the way the system works is that they will do a pushback. If there's a large amount of kids that's not coming into school because of being homeschooled, they'll do something weird like, okay, well, you're now gonna have to do this now. It's like, all right, come on now. Like how far is this control gonna go? Right? So I was just only like thinking about just the perimeters of where I can control of right now. I know I can say I can go up there, but I know in real reality, I can only do that for a certain amount of time before my lifestyle to even keep my family intact is affected. You know what I'm saying? So in order to keep that in bound, I would have to fight my way. Me and a wife and everybody else as a community would have to fight our way into getting for these systems to work into place better for us. You know what I'm saying? So which the protection can go where it's like we feel like they're protected. We know for a fact we can see off cameras, just like Jimmy said. There needs to be multiple forms of surveillance. That is a key thing. Multiple forms of surveillance, just in case something like this happens again, or to prevent something like this from happening.
But you once again, you gotta take account where it happened. This is a small town with people with 20,000 or less people in a small town in Texas. Different story from this big city of New York. Where New York, to get into schools, every single school has metal detectors. Every single school in our area has metal detectors.
Yeah, but the metal detectors by then it's like it's too late. He's already too close with that equipment. What I'm saying is it goes a little bit deeper than the cameras, right? Like think about it like this. A mall has a security room, right? Literally what's in the room? It's just cameras surveilling the outside of the building. They can see things coming. If you get what I'm saying? And then are we talking about now armed security in schools, police? Like, you know, I know police can't be everywhere. Maybe they can be, maybe they can't. I don't know. Maybe for the smaller towns, maybe that's something they can do. But there definitely needs to be a exterior, like the comment below where it was like, yo, there needs to be a lot of entry points to get into a building. If you go to a government building, you're not just walking in. You do have to go through, you know, a certain procedure. So I guess for a school now, it's come to that. Like, this is not the first school. It's not. And again, elementary school. Like, I want to really drive that in so that you can understand the average age of what's going on. Kids going in to get their education, teachers there to mold the brains of the future. And dude is strapped. The body armor thing is what just really stood out. Like this is the second, you know, case in 9 days with the Buffalo, New York, again in body armor with, you know, not an average weapon. You know, they're going in armed heavy. They're going in protected. So they understand they're here to, you know, they're ready for whatever. Like, they're ready to go to war. And we talk about in an elementary school, like shooting at the cops, you know, it's crazy. It's having a shootout with a bunch of police officers. Then they have to bring it back up. Like, that's crazy. Like, there has to be some sort of perimeter set around schools now, bro. Like my daughter's school, there's a huge metal door. It will not open unless they buzz you in. Like, you have to push the bell. They got to look at the camera, see you, and that's it. Like, you're not just walking in, which is what I love.
That's majority. That's majority of New York schools.
I'm not in New York.
Yeah. See, and that's what I'm saying. I didn't want to keep it. I didn't want to keep it based in any place because there are certain places that don't have the luxury of New Jersey or New York or Connecticut because it's tri-state, or Dallas, Texas because it's more. You know what I'm saying? Compared to the Texas where this took place, this is more rural. So you know what I'm saying? What Jimmy is saying is right. Some form of, even if the cameras isn't enough, there should be some locks towards doors where it's like they gotta be familiar with you. You gotta be somebody. They gotta double check this. Like, you just can't pull up and say my name is Frank and you know, and I'm Shanice's uncle. Nah, homie, you gotta come with a little bit more than that. Parent gotta call. There gotta be multiple forms of contact into which this is an okay for you. And we gotta run who you are. Like, there needs to be some ID on top of some extra stuff. So it's like those are the small things that can happen. Like, within the next week, if you get what I'm saying, that can bring a stop to the situation more than they can get more protocols into play and figure it out throughout the whole entire country. I think it has to be a collective of things. It can't just be one idea. has to be multiple different things.
Yeah.
One thing I did want to mention too, my man shot his grandmother, right? Let's not let that slide by. But then crashes the car. Then they report a car that crashed, and my man comes out in body armor, and that's what they report. Dude, what the?
Bro,
I forgot about that too. That's crazy. That's how he started his killing spree.
Yeah, y'all ever seen that movie? Is it called Capital Punishment on Netflix?
yeah,
Not yet.
Does that not seem familiar to you, bro?
very.
Be honest, bro. That's
Very.
very familiar. If y'all not familiar with it, please look it up. They made like 3 different versions to it.
I think the first one is the one you watch to understand to see the same similarities. First one, like I fail to understand this man's logic on what
There's no logic. What do you call it? There's no logic to this.
But it has to be logic. It has to be logical, bro, because there's something behind your mental state to go into a school, bro. A school, elementary school.
I'm sorry, B. Q's right. The thing is, you are right in the head. You're okay. You have humility, bro. You feel the pain, so you're trying to figure it out. Like it's a math equation. This is not a math equation, bro. This is straight blank out evil, bro. But to try to come up with that definition for it. Now everyone has to deal with it in their own way. But take away the logic from it, because it's heartless, bro. It's something that's more. I don't want to even think like that, honestly. I know that the act itself is just messed up. I'd rather just keep it at this person is just a complete evil soul, bro. Like, matter of fact, soulless. This is something else, man. You know what I mean? It's ridiculous, bro. I don't want to know the process of thought. I just know you're sick. Completely sick. Let God deal with that man.
Yeah, they said the threat has been neutralized. I was like, that was a nice way of putting it.
Thank you.
They went straight to it.
Who did what they needed to do. Much appreciated.
It was like, we gotta keep it PG-13 on it, but you know what happened. This ain't what happened last week. But I mean, obviously, listen, man, this is a school we're talking about. We're not thinking we're sending our kids to a war zone, right? Like, let's be honest. Like, me growing up as a kid, I never heard anything like that, at least in my vicinity or anything on the news. That wasn't really something that was a threat, or you could even picture. Like, that's something for the movies, for them to create some crazy killer cycle. You know what I'm saying? That's something you feel you could only see in the movies. But nowadays, it's just like they're running up in schools now.
Well, again, unfortunately, like, this is what it is, and this is where the world has brought us to. The only way to fix this is they got to come down on all of these guys and everybody around them with to the fullest extent of the law. Like, I'm talking about, like, every what do you call it, when it comes to the all these guys with their manifestos, they need to go after everybody that is connected to these people and connected to these ideas. They need to go hard on all of them. The same way they went hard on, like, the Black Panthers, and they call them a terrorist group. They need to come down just as hard, if not harder, to all of these domestic terrorists, because this is what it is, right? This is their mission, to terrorize people, right? And the worst thing you can do is take an innocent life. Like, all lives are innocent, but the life of children, they need to they need to figure out whatever they did to neutralize other groups that are of this nature, of the terroristic nature, and they need to crush them. No Burger King runs, no McDonald's. Just get these guys off the face of the earth and shut them down.
Shut them down before another crisis happens. We have the technology. If we really looking for someone, we can find them. We got all these satellites in the sky. We have all of this all these different type of branches of the government, branches of law enforcement, FBI, CIA, all of this. We have the means. If we could find people in other countries when we need to find them and take them out, we can do that at home too, because it's crazy. Like if you like right now, don't they say, like right now, if I go on my computer and I email or I'm sending stuff on the computer threatening the president's life, will they not pick up on that? Is that not flagged immediately, to the point like if I'm doing too much, they're gonna come knocking on my door like, hey, you got to come with us, or like, hey, what's going on?
Rightfully so. They should.
So it should, like the manifestos these guys be having, the shit that they be sending on the internet and all this extra stuff, like all of that got to be flagged. They can flag it clearly, right? So because this is crazy, like we need to start putting in action to prevent. Like it's not always about like the reaction. Great, he's not here. The threat is eliminated. Great, but like, damn, it would have been better to have stopped him before the 18 kids, before the 3 adults. You get what I'm saying? So we have the technology. The technology that's available to us is crazy. I've seen the craziest things. Yeah. There's enough rich and brilliant people in this world to come together and be like, all right, like, you know what? Like that's too much. Like we have all this cybersecurity and all this. All right, let's focus on this. And we, the United States of America, it doesn't matter if it's a small town or not. It shouldn't matter. This is too much, man. We talking about 5 to 10-year-olds.
Yo, dude, I'm petrified for kids, dude. Because not only they being shot at in schools, people are kidnapping kids.
Yeah,
like that's still going on. Like,
what are we saying? What was happening in the comments? I'm curious.
Okay, you gonna check out some comments so we can respond to those?
Yeah,
we appreciate everybody who commented. We really do.
Really, very appreciated.
Yeah, I think Lauda Martinez was dropping some jewels. Thank you, Lauda, for your comments in Daydream Life, the Daydream Life. She's been commenting on this stuff. I don't know. Well,
yeah, that's true.
That's the part. Like the majority of the people that walk in the schools do the school shootings were students there at one point. That's the sad part. They know the schools. That's why the schools got to learn to change their routine around, bro.
Right now, not later. Right now.
Learn the routine. Change the routine.
Every year. Every year, because somebody's leaving every year.
Class, you got to change it around, because if you keep leaving the same routine, it just leaves the kids and the students open to this kind of tragedy, because they know what to do. They know where to come in from. They know where to come in. They know where to come in from. It's just too easy for them. If you don't change it, like I seen how they change access points for the mayor, for the president. He don't ever go the same route twice. Why are schools doing the same routine? Why is school safety agents being so lazy that they can't change the exit points where the kids enter in every year? Why can't you change how the kids enter?
Well, it's really reactive. Like, because again, right, if we're logically speaking, we're not thinking that's a war zone we're sending our kids to. It's school. It's school. It's where they go and get their education. It's where they go eat school lunch. We were all kids, bro. Like, you know, we didn't have this fear. Like when a parent is sending their kid to school, like I sent my daughter to school fine. I walked her to school, waited for her to go inside with her class. Once she was secured inside the building, I just left. It's school. I'm not thinking like, hey, someone is going to come and shoot up the school. You get what I'm saying? Like, until it happens, this is where, unfortunately, it has to happen for you to be like, okay, this happened. What's important now is how we stop it, because now there's no excuse. Before we could say, hey, this is something that we didn't expect. We never would assume this would happen here. Okay, but now it has.
But that's the thing.
Well, it's not the first time. Excuse me, but it's not even the first time. So maybe my point is not even valid.
Way too often. But if you look, since we came out of the Corona lockdown, when kids won't start going back to school, the State Department kept on saying that it's going to be a lot. It's going to be something's good with the people's mental state. That's might be a lot of mass shootings happening. They keep talking about it like it's a normal thing.
Well, didn't read about any of that stuff. What I will tell everybody who's watching this and everybody, so you boys, you gotta educate your friends, your coworkers, the people around you, and push for self-protection, push for obviously change in the government, push uh, to make some bigger changes, you know, within your lives, Yeah, it's horrible that we have to even talk about this, but it is what it is. For
Address.
lack of a better saying. And I have to get off because I have work tomorrow, and my time is limited. But I did want to come on and tell everybody out here, got to figure out better ways. Now, most people can't homeschool their kids. That's why they have, what do you call it? That's why they you know what do you call it? That's what's great about school. School is usually your baby. Not only is it your educator, but it's also your babysitter, right? Most people don't have what you have, Prada, where you have a working father, and wife can stay home and whatnot. Most people don't have that. Um, it's a beautiful thing when you do, because then you can make those choices, you can make those decisions. But most people are not that. So build your money, build yourself up, be able to what do you call it? Create a life that you can uh, have that. In the meantime, pray. Look, what do you call it? Hug your kids, hug your family members, and always tell them, always push in their minds that this world is dangerous, and there are people out here that have nothing to live for and nothing to lose, and they have their own agendas, and their agendas are not good all of the time. That's all I have to say. I'm gonna turn it back to you guys, but I have to be out, unfortunately. Um, Hug your kids, hug your family members, love on them as much as you can, possibly. That's all I have.
Honestly, like I second what Q said. You gotta stay protected. You gotta do the best you can to try to fend ourselves against what's going on in this world. Teach your kids how to keep themselves safe. Keep yourself safe, your wife, your family. Stay in tune, stay in contact. Stay diligent. Diligent. Did I say that wrong?
No, diligent.
Anyways,
Yeah, they're right the first time.
anyways,
Remain vigilant.
vigilant. That's what it came out a little. There we go.
You're good. You're good.
And you pray. Yeah, you know what I mean. For those who don't, you got to stay connected to something. And in these hard times, it's feeling like it's feeling hopeless. But there's hope out there, man. And for the men, we have to stay focused, get ourselves together, protect our community. That is the key thing. That's what's missing. There's so much fighting going on. There's so much distractions going on. Let's stay focused on what the real priority is: safety, family. That's all I got.
Yeah, man, it's terrible out here, man. My final thoughts on the situation, like I said, man. Now we've seen once again is it's not a problem, which is crazy. This is not the first time it's happening. Like I said, man, better educate our kids. Um, One of the things I used to get flack about is like, oh, your kids are too young to know this kind of thing. Like you should wait. Or I'm like, no, like I don't want my child to be a victim. So although my daughter is 7, if I feel is necessary, ever since she was tiny, don't play with electricity. This is what happens. Don't play with fire. Like, even if that meant like, hey, like you really need to understand consequences. Maybe like she would bump into like an article she reads, like she'll watch a video and see it by accident, which is crazy. The internet is getting a little crazy. But anyway, we need to do preventative things. Now we know, like, hey, this is a reminder. Like, no one is safe. Like you said, the government needs to step in and drop some laws real quick to have some official things happening. Us at home, man, we just got to be vigilant, man. Got to educate our kids. Not, that innocence that they have, to protect that, but we also got to let them know what's up, man. There's, like you said, kids are being kidnapped. Kids are being there's too much going on with kids, so we just got to educate them the best we can. As parents, pay attention, be more involved. Not just dropping the kids off, but like going to parent teacher conferences, getting to go inside the school, because that's how you kind of learn. Okay, this is the type of security system you have set up. Okay, this is how I get to the kids. All right, where's the security? You get what I'm saying? Like, I get to go inside the school and see what's going on, because this is crazy. Hopefully, this is the last lesson that we need to see in order for us to get our school exterior hardened, because it's crazy.
I don't know how not to feel like this is done again. This is crazy. How do you, how and why? We need to figure out a solution, not just statewide, just nationwide. I don't know if it's got to be gun control laws, bigger background checks, mental state. I don't know what the solution gonna be, but we need to pray and figure out. At least have a backup plan for each school's everything. Like you said, exit plan, backup plan. If we have to wear armor on this, body armor if we have to, in certain situations, to walk around with, I guess. Because you don't never know when this is gonna happen again, where it's gonna happen, because it constantly keeps happening over and over again. Like, we need to figure out a solution. Something needs to happen. I don't know if it got to come from above, it got to come from the president's office, Congress. I don't know where, but someone needs to step in and figure out how is all these people that are not stable getting these guns. How come all these people have these different ideologies that just easy access to guns and just to walk in place and just start shooting things? How is this? How is this happening over and over again, and no one's doing nothing about it? Nothing. It's never a new solution. Never a new way to stop it. It's just always. It's gonna every time it happens, the same thing happens. The politicians talk for a little bit about it, and then you don't hear nothing else new. Nothing changes. Nothing fixes anything. It's just the same mess all over and over again. At this point, this one hurts the most. It's like it hurts to the pit of my stomach. It just hurts. It really hurts.
Shout out to Gabriel Martinez and Lauda and everybody else that was in the chat. Prayed up, stay prayed up.
We appreciate y'all.
To believe in. Be careful, guys. I gotta run. Love you, boys. Take care and have a good night.
Stay safe. All right, man. You're proud of your microphone.
Mic all muted. No, I was saying in the comments before everyone goes, whoever's watching, leave comments. What are some ideas that we can implement to, whether it's a government thing or whether it's a community thing, but what are some of the things? I feel like if we share ideas, something good is going to come out of it. But like I said, I think it starts with exterior security. We need cameras all around the schools. We need someone in the camera room watching those cameras. We need secure. And I mean, I just saw that someone was saying that it happened during recess. So I think about recess right here near my daughter's school, which is really close to my house, which is like a blessing in itself. And I'll hear the kids outside running freely, and the gates aren't like, these are gates you can put a weapon through. And they're just like having a time of their lives. So it actually made it worse for me seeing this coming, because I'm like, damn, they enjoying themselves. How kids are. and running around trying to jump on the slides, chasing each other, playing tag. And anyway, man, drop some comments there to, so we could, try to figure out some solutions. Other than that, gentlemen, it's been a pleasure. Thanks you everybody for tuning in. Thank you for everyone that dropped comments. Again, we'll do a moment of silence for the victims. That's crazy, man. Everyone is good night. Good fight.